nobody can beat our cost.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I invite His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GEIL, President, Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here today by Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator Heineken Okoye.
All the figures, nobody can beat our cost.
The Niger Delta belches black gold. One writer once described it as a swamp full of dollars. For millions of the inhabitants, the fortune is counted in pennies. Promises of an industrial heartland teeming with employment have been as fleeting as the tide. What does it take to turn a natural resource into true blessing? Stepping aside from all the skepticism, one indigenous company dared to concretize a vivid dream to build a large onshore oil terminal, the first such large-scale infrastructure in the basin in over 50 years. A monumental feat of engineering, finance, and sheer human will. But this is not just a story of steel and pipelines. It is about shared prosperity, born of a vision that sees oil and gas as catalyst for integrated sustainable development from the ground up. This is the testimony from Green Energy International, stepping up to prove that a company's greatest asset is the bond of friendship with its neighbors. A testament to how true energy security is delivered when you empower communities, light up their future, and build a legacy that flows deeper than oil.
It is with great honor that I invite His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GEIL, President, Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here today by Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator Heineken Okoye.
But at the time Green Energy was given the marginal field, several others were given marginal fields. Instead of investing in them, some of them even had access to funding, but used it to buy private jets and started roaming around the world. But Green Energy decided to change the game by investing in what we can visibly see, by investing in assets that will create maximum value for the oil. And so, the Green Energy, I want to assure you of a total support, total, collaboration with you and other operators who are keeping the terms of their licenses.
With Green Energy International, there emerged a stronger partnership, a conversation, and a commitment to purposefulness. The company arrived with more than a blueprint for an export terminal. It came with a plan for a shared future, for jobs, for electricity, and for a mutual stake in equal destiny. The one project that strings all of this together is the Otakipo onshore export terminal. This will ensure a larger footprint, more employment, and situate these communities in the industrial map of West Africa. It was launched by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the 8th of October 2025. This is marching to the future.
I welcome you all to the Otakipo onshore terminal, the first of such to be conceptualized by an African indigenous operator the first of such to be constructed in more than 5 decades in Nigeria. Discussions, due diligences, SHE, all sorts of things with international banks, but they could not deliver in 4 years. Fidelity delivered for us by taking a leap of faith and provided us with initial funding for the project in Q1 2023. It is noteworthy that more than 90% of the contract value of this infrastructure, which is a national asset, was handled by indigenous contractors. This historic and critical national infrastructure was delivered ahead of schedule, what I believe is a clear statement of intent by our country and Nigerian indigenous E&P companies, the international companies community, that Nigeria is ready to play a leading role in the global energy security and its own prosperity. But let me be honest with you. Let me make it abundantly clear that it will be difficult for Nigeria to increase its daily food production to above 3 million barrels per day that we can do without us bottlenecking the country's E&P, aging, upstream and midstream infrastructure. Talk is cheap. We did more than talk in our company. We've done some internal studies and we have identified 5 more of this kind of modular terminals that must, I emphasize, that must be rapidly constructed to support the realization of the Renewed Hope agenda of Mr. President. In providing this infrastructure, GEIL is ready. GEIL is dedicated. GEIL is desperate, as a matter of fact. Partner with NMPCL to seize the opportunity, to seize the moment, to redefine what it means to be a global energy leader.
I'm the General Manager project for the Green Energy ETI. We started the project actually, the concept 2017, and we went as far as London to raise the money, international market to raise the money. The first phase of the project, when it was conceptualized, was we needed about $1 billion. We were actually successful. We were about getting the money as of December 2019. Then we were to get the disbursement of the money by March 2020. That was when COVID came. And when COVID came, oil price dropped to as low as $30 per barrel. The project was conceptualized at about $45 per barrel. So it means it's no longer commercially viable, and all the investors pulled out. Nobody actually believed in this project first. Secondly, nobody believed we could finish in record time. Everybody said the fastest time we are going to finish about 7 years, and we told them we will finish in less than 2 years. We have more than 5 buildings, admin buildings, the accommodation buildings, armed security personnel, control building, electrical building, stores and workshop. It's a community contractor that did it.
You know, since I joined Green Energy International Limited, it's been a very great ride. You know, I've been able to personally develop myself career-wise, family-wise. You know, I've been able to fend for my family as it is and even extend to my relatives as such. Since GEIL came into this community, it's been development all the way, down to the grassroots, empowerment for everybody, down to even our older citizens in the community. They have something to look forward to. When it comes to the youth, I'm an example. I've been given employment and I'm doing very well as a person. So GEIL has been great for us. GEIL has impacted our lives in so many different ways. I want to say a big thank you to GEIL, and I'll be glad to continue with them for so many years to come.
In the 80s, I was told that Shell actually annexed this field. And after a while, because of the low productivity in the field, they abandoned the field. But when green energy came in, there were massive improvements. The development, the structure of ground, the machineries, and beyond the machineries, at the point of employment, while employing specialists from different walks of life, they also carry the communities along. A case study is me. I'm coming from the community. I'm from Ugamekede community. There are 5 communities hosting green energy. Ikuru Town, Ugamekede, Ayamekede, Aswama, and Asuyed. These 5 communities that I've mentioned, their youth have been holistically carried along when it comes to employment. And I'm one of them from the community.
If before you were thinking that your evacuation cost to your developing your asset is $17 per barrel, this may have brought it to $9 per barrel. Your asset suddenly becomes higher. Go back to your bank. If your bank don't understand it, come to us. Trinity Bank will continue to support this company and this man and anything he touches. If, for example, we sit down on the table and we say, well, look, I'm doing 20,000 barrels, and in order for you not to be cut off, you can talk to us and have a side deal that I want 2 tanks purely for my own crude. We can do that. Bonnie will not do that for you. As a matter of fact, I don't want my crude to be commingled with any other crude. We can do that. Because we've been there before. So I think I want that message also, that we are flexible. And like he said, you look at all the figures, nobody can beat our cost.
Every significant mark of progress starts with an idea. Anthony Adegbulugbe saw more than a solution to evacuating stranded hydrocarbon assets. He was willing to ensure that this site of fascinating wetlands should throw up significant value for everyone. The state, the landholder, the asset superintendent. It was an opportunity to prove what Nigerian ingenuity could achieve. To build, for the first time in a generation, a wholly indigenous energy terminal. There are over 40 stranded oil and gas fields that are in proximity to this terminal. The current evacuation infrastructure is clearly suboptimal, and this, in the view of GEIL, has come to mean that significant initial capex costs of installation of several kilometers of pipelines make most field developments and operations uneconomical. Most operators struggle with obtaining export capacity in the oil pipelines operated by the IOCs. Most of these pipelines often cross several states, rivers, and swamps, which increases the likelihood of sabotage. The efforts and costs to effectively protect these pipelines are unmanageable for most operators. These fields collectively hold more than 3 billion barrels of oil, equivalent to reserves, and can produce over 200,000 barrels per day, which would have been permanently left behind pipe. The new terminal creates remarkable value to these assets by providing ready access to cost-effective and fit-for-purpose evacuation infrastructure.
First and foremost, we are still an oil-producing company, and by royalties, we contribute to the foreign exchange earnings of the country to that extent that the oil sector accounts for a large chunk of that in an oil exporting country like ours. I think we are paying a little bit into that sum. But we've gone also slightly beyond that. We've decided as a green energy to take the advantage of the fact that we have an energy transition worldwide, and it's a train that cannot be stopped. I.e., we have a situation where the energy utilization is moving from more carbonized fuel to less carbonized fuel, and ultimately to low carbon fuel, which we all know we call renewables. And finally, we moved again from being just an A&P company. We now moved to infrastructure. We've unveiled the first onshore terminal in Nigeria in 50 years. That is to say, we are making a contribution in getting operational efficiency in the oil sector. Again, to the extent that we are doing that, we are contributing indirectly to the economy of the nation. And I can see if we are doing it and others are doing it also, then the issue of importing LPG becomes mute. People who import LPG will know that it's no longer attractive, it's no longer economic for them. So in that sense, we are contributing to the narrative of a transition that's going on within the economy. We entered this sector with a different mindset. The traditional mindset is that you go into E&P, oil and gas sector, you want to produce oil and you want to export, make foreign exchange, and that's the end of the story. We came in first and foremost ab initio that we are going to be an integrated energy company. That comes from my background because I'm an energy man, I'm not an oil and gas person. I have a broad view of the energy sector, and I think that helped, because we see things slightly different from what others will see. For example, an E&P company, purely an E&P company, will not see the need, for example, for building a terminal. We'll tell you, let the others go and do that. Will not say it need to be a terminal that we only use 5% of the capacity. But we see you're beyond that. If you're not an energy person who has taken a global view of it, you will not be too much interested in extracting LPG and using the rest to generate power. So I think that may have contributed to a large extent to what I would call the success that we have recorded. If you do 20 megawatts, you can find a need for that 20 megawatts within your industrial park, what you are doing. For example, we are planning, as part of our second phase of gas, we are planning a mini LNG facility. Mini LNG will take 10 megawatts. That means I have to get more gas somewhere, either gas coming to our facility or gas that I produce. But if the scale keeps on growing and we cannot find any use for it in our facility, then the logical end, the logical conclusion is to really start talking about putting into the national grid. But for now, and the next foreseeable future, all our electricity will be used in that community, industrial park, and for our facility.
For generations in Andoni Kingdom, the rhythm of life has always been tied to the ebb and tide of water bodies. This is a community rich in culture and stupendous wealth beneath the surface. With Green Energy International, there emerged a stronger partnership, a conversation, and a commitment to purposefulness. The company arrived with more than a blueprint for an export terminal. It came with a plan for a shared future, for jobs, for electricity, and for a mutual stake in equal destiny.
I am from Ugama, Ikedi, in Andoni local government area of Rivers State. I'm a youth in the community, and I'm also privileged to be the legal advisor and the secretary of the management committee of the Ugama Ikedi, Ayam Ikedi, Aswama, Asuyet Post Community Development Trust.
I am currently the chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council of the Foursome Communities of Otakepo.
I am a lecturer in a higher institution in Rivers State. I am a member of Ikru Town. I come from Ikru Town.
I am King, I'm His Majesty King Aaron Miller Ikuru, KAC, JP, Ikuru the 7th, Okama of Ikuru Town, and also the chairman of Andoni Local Government Traditional Rulers Council.
Well, we have a very, very, very good community relation. The community has been very cooperative. There's always tension, let's face it, between any oil company coming to any community, and by and large, no matter what the tension is, it has always been handled very, very carefully. And I think what may have helped us was the sincerity we brought to the table. Even before the first oil was extracted from the ground, we started a massive scholarship scheme, never seen in that area before.
Everybody that is a student, as soon as they screen you and you're a student, they give you according to the level of your education. For instance, the people in primary school are given according to their level. Secondary school are given according to their level. University, undergraduates, postgraduates, we are given. So this money have helped to increase the number of graduates in the community. Because when you know that where you're coming from, you cannot afford 100,000 naira in a semester, and a bursary is being given to you for 100,000 and you manage it properly, you can be able to achieve your aim of being a graduate. For instance, I'm a beneficiary of the bursary from JV. So as a student, when I was doing my master's, my PhD degree, they paid me bursary, and that bursary helped me to take care of certain things that I needed to do as a student. It helped me.
We have about 20 ongoing projects across the Foursome communities, and they are capital-intensive projects, but the expectations are still very high.
Turning all these negatives around is a project that ensures that the wealth beneath the surface finally empowers the lives above it.
My philosophy and the philosophy of our company is that we need to make communities where you're operating really a stakeholder. One way of making them a stakeholder is what the PI says, and bravo, that's good. 3% of what your operation, give it to them to do developmental project.
Interestingly, what the PIA has done was to say, pay us 3% of your annual operating costs. When we started the PIA, for those of us who are industry practitioners, we were pessimistic about what the PIA holds. But now that we are seeing what 3% in a year represents, is far more than what we are getting under the MOU. So for us, it's a double win, and it's a double win, and we are very, very grateful. For every fiscal year, the communities are given opportunities to nominate projects that they considered priority for that particular year. So we don't impose projects on the community. They have the privilege to nominate the projects they want to see for each fiscal year. And then, based on the available funds, money is allocated to those projects.
Needs are many. But we know how much money is coming up for us. So we say, okay, what can we use this money for? through our board of trustees. Then we come up with something like I've just told you. We wanted a road, a bypass from the main government road into my own community. We all agreed, and then we submit such list.
In fact, I myself, I called it not green energy, but equal company. That's what I call it, equal company, which is just like our baby. Because whether we like it or not, it has improved us, and it's still improving us. It's still helping us. I don't want anything to happen to personally as your karma. I don't want anything to disturb that company. It is God, our God in heaven, that brought green energy to us. And we are happy for it. I don't want any distraction at all by use or whatever name they want to call themselves. Because without green energy, things would have been terrible for us. We are happy with green energy. As they are shifting from oil to gas, we have in abundance. So why must we toy with green energy? Why must we toy with the consumption?
Green Energy International's engineered facility is designed to keep given promises kept, to build a legacy not just for a company, but for a deserving people.
Now, one particular area that we're very expectant is on the issue of electricity.
We are still very thankful to them. But we are worried because they promised to give us light, which should have been the basis of rapid development in the community, but that they never did since they came. They said they were going to put up a turbine. Now they are using the turbine without extending the light to Ikuru town. We are pained. We are worried. We are still pleading with them to do so.
Yes, we have come a long way. But like any other group, we still need more. We still need more.
We have 20 megawatts now. We are not using all the 20 in our facility. Part of it is going to go working with the HCDC now. How part of that park can go to the community. We're also planning in the not distant future to establish an industrial park. And when I mean an industrial park, it's going to be an agro-industrial park, where we want to use the power to do fish processing and co, because the livelihood around the area is fishery. So we want to make that whole area like the fish processing capital of Nigeria, as it were, because there'll be available power.
Get ready for the ultimate insider's look at the state of energy in Africa.
The next 20 years, from all the published projections, that fossil fuel will still account for some 50% of the total global energy mix.
The trigger was the opportunity of working in Nigeria that made me see what could be done to provide better service at a reduced cost to the oil industry.
Join us for peerless insights into the opportunities in the energy value chain. Meet the people driving innovation and discover the businesses, communities, regulators at the heart of today's progress in the sector. This is the energy industry like you've never seen it before.